Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, I want you to picture something with me just for a second. Imagine a tree, but this isn't any tree you've probably seen before. Its roots, they're not going down into the ground, they're reaching up towards the sky.
Okay.
And the branches, well, they're cascading downward, spreading out everywhere. It's a really weird image, right? Almost backward.
It is. It's meant to be puzzling, I think.
So what could that possibly mean? Why use something so, upside down to talk about reality?
It's a incredibly profound metaphor, actually. And it's designed specifically to challenge how we usually see things.
Yeah.
Today, we're diving deep into exactly that image.
The upside down tree.
Yeah, from the Bhagavad Gita's 15th chapter, Purushottama Yoga. And the key insight right away is that our everyday reality, it's not the original. It's more like a reflection in a mirror.
A distorted reflection.
Exactly. And what's being reflected, the shape of that reflection, comes from our own deep-seated desires. So, I mean, if you really want to change your reality,
You've got to look at the desires first.
that's the starting point, yeah.
Wow, okay. That hits home immediately. So our mission today is to unpack this really peculiar tree. What does it stand for? What's the deeper spiritual meaning?
And crucially, how understanding it might actually be a kind of shortcut.
A shortcut to what?
To understanding our whole material existence and, ultimately getting the essence of what the Vedas are all about.
And this isn't totally new ground in the Gita, is it? I remember it connects back to earlier chapters.
That's right. It builds directly on chapters 13 and 14. Remember we talked about what gets us tangled up in the first place?
Illusory desire, kama, and the gunas.
Yeah, Gunasanga, the influence of those sliodes of nature.
Yeah.
This upside-down tree is just a very graphic, sort of unforgettable picture of that entanglement.
It really paints a picture of our bondage.
It does. And interestingly, the Gita doesn't just spell out this tree means the material world. You have to sort of infer it, use your own intelligence.
Right.
But once you see it that way, the implications for your own life become pretty huge.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start with the core image from verse 15.1. It's an ashwatha tree, a banyan tree, roots up, branches down. It's called imperishable, and its leaves are the Vedic hymns. And Krishna says understanding this tree means knowing the Vedas. That immediately tells you it's not literal, right? It's packed with meaning.
Absolutely not literal. The upside down part is key. It signals that this world we experience, it's not the real deal. It's a reflection, often distorted, of the true spiritual world.
Like looking at something reflected in water.
Exactly like that. It's inverted, maybe blurry.
Yeah.
And that distortion in our reality, it comes from our desires, or wanting to enjoy this material realm.
So if the desires weren't there,
Then this reflection, this whole material world,
yeah,
it wouldn't exist for us in the same binding, illusory way. The illusion depends on the desire.
that's powerful. Okay, let's break down the parts. Those roots reaching upwards. What's that about?
Well, the roots are up because the source, the origin of this whole material, show the Supreme Lord, Ishvara, Krishna. He's superior. He's transcendent.
Above it all.
Right. He's the ultimate source, untouched by the material world he creates. And interestingly, the Gita suggests the higher planets within the material world are closer to these roots.
Symbolizing being closer to spiritual truth.
Exactly. Proximity to the source.
Okay, so if the roots are the divine source up high, how does that energy become, this world? What about the branches spreading down?
The branches. They spread down and out, representing all the different aspects of the material world, the illusionary parts, all its diverse realms, the lokas.
The different planes of existence?
Yeah, from higher, more subtle ones down to the denser, lower ones. Each is kind of a result of different karma. The further down those branches you go,
The further from the truth you are.
pretty much, you're deeper into the illusion.
And what keeps this whole thing growing, this tree of material life?
It gets watered, so to speak. Watered by the influence of the three gunas.
Goodness, passion, and ignorance.
That's them. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. The more we get entangled in actions driven by these modes, the more this tree grows. It expands, gets more complex, pulls us deeper in.
I remember reading the leaves are compared to the Vedic hymns. How does that fit in?
Right, the leaves. Well, just like leaves are vital for a tree's life cycle, the Vedic hymns can, in a way, sustain material existence. But, and this is a big but,
Okay.
if you only understand those hymns for their material benefits, the flowery words mentioned back in chapter 2.
For temporary gains, rituals for success, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Then they actually become part of the illusion. They offer temporary satisfactions, like pretty flowers that quickly fade. They keep you focused on the temporary, not the eternal source.
Got it. So leaves are hymns, potentially trapping. What about the buds, the new growth on the branches?
Good question. The tender buds are the Vishayas, the sense objects.
Sights, sounds, smells.
All of it, the things that grab our senses. And these objects, they spark desires. Acting on those desires leads to karmanu bandhini actions that bind us even more tightly to this tree.
So our likes and dislikes, our attachments, they form like another root.
You could say that, a taproot maybe, formed by our own attachments, growing stronger every time we engage, anchoring us deeper and deeper.
So following this logic, engaging with sense objects, letting desires grow stronger, what's the final product? What's the ultimate fruit this material tree bears?
Well, the Gita's pretty blunt about it. The ultimate fruit is distress, suffering.
Dukkha.
Suffering, yeah. It emphasizes that this material world is temporary, ashashvatam, and inherently filled with pain, dukkhalayam. So chastening worldly pursuits, however nice they seem for a bit,
Ultimately leads to dissatisfaction.
exactly, it leads back to that feeling that something's just not right. That sense of something amiss that so many people feel deep down.
Yeah, that feeling, it really does resonate, doesn't it? That pervasive sense that, beyond specific bad news or problems, something is fundamentally off.
Absolutely. You see it everywhere, don't you? One obvious thing is just this general sense of dissatisfaction.
Even when things are technically good.
Yeah. People often aren't happy with what they've got or who they are or just how things are going. Even like you said, on a vacation, it's supposed to be blissful, right? But that little nagging feeling can still be there. Something's wrong.
A deeper disconnect.
Definitely. And then there's what feels like, well, a decline in humanity's moral compass sometimes.
You mean people causing harm?
Yes. When things are unchecked, actions, big or small, often cause harm. It reflects this sort of drift, maybe, in our collective moral direction.
And of course, everything falls apart eventually. Decay.
Precisely. Nothing material lasts.
Yeah.
Everything breaks down, decays, gets destroyed. Whether it's nature doing it or us. So to get a handle on all this, the Gita actually sorts these problems into 3 kinds of distress.
Okay, what are the categories?
First, adidaivik, that's distress from nature, think floods, earthquakes, storms, things beyond our immediate control, coming from higher forces, you could say.
Makes sense. What's second?
Adabhadik, this is social distress, coming from other living beings. Conflict, inequality, injustice, gossip, you name it.
Okay, nature, other people. What's the third?
Adhyatmic. This is psychophysical. It's our own internal stuff, the struggles within our own body and mind, anxiety, disease, and that pervasive dissatisfaction we keep mentioning.
Ah, so the source is within us for that one.
Right. And these aren't just labels. Knowing these categories helps diagnose the problem. Are you suffering because of nature, others, or yourself? It helps figure out where to even begin looking for a real solution instead of just, patching things up temporarily.
So if this world isn't really set up for perfect, lasting enjoyment, can it be fixed? I mean, the modern idea is often that, human effort, technology, reason, we can solve the world's problems.
Right. That's a very common belief, especially over the last few centuries. The idea that enough progress, enough tech could conquer nature's challenges and fix human dissatisfaction.
But history maybe tells a different story.
Well, look at the world wars, for instance. Peak scientific advancement, incredible technology. And yet, humanity chose incredibly destructive paths. Technology alone clearly doesn't stop us from making terrible choices.
So technology can help fix specific problems.
Absolutely, and it does. And that's valuable. We should definitely strive to alleviate suffering where we can. But the overall problem, this fundamental dissatisfaction, the nature of existence itself, that seems to be more complex than just a tech fix.
What about other views? Some religions, maybe like Christianity, talk about divine intervention, transforming the world, making it a paradise.
That's certainly another perspective, yeah.
Yeah.
A future transformation brought about by God. But the Bhagavad Gita, it offers a really different angle.
How so?
It doesn't promise a perfected material world for us to enjoy forever. Instead, it teaches that the whole purpose of life is to transcend the material world altogether.
Transcend it, not perfect it.
Exactly. There's a great analogy sometimes used. The world is like a hospital, not a hotel.
A hospital, not a hotel. Wow. Say more about that. How is that liberating? It sounds a bit grim at first.
Well, think about it. What's the purpose of a hospital? Recovery, healing, It provides what you need to get better, not necessarily endless comfort or entertainment for a permanent stay.
Right. The goal is to get well and leave.
Precisely. So seeing the world this way frees you from that endless, frustrating chase for perfect material happiness that the place isn't designed to provide. The goal becomes spiritual recovery, transcendence.
So is the world fixable at all then, from the Gita's view?
It is, but in a specific way. It's fixable in a way that supports our spiritual progress or journey towards transcendence. But that requires, as the Gita suggests, intelligent cooperation.
Cooperation
Between human effort and the divine will, but aligned for transcendence, not just better material enjoyment.
Okay, this really leads us to the core issue the Gita points to, being caught in Maya. Illusion. What exactly is this illusion? Is it just our senses tricking us?
It's definitely deeper than just tricky senses, although, yeah, there is illusion in perception.
Like the stick looking bent in water.
Or a mirage in the desert. Our senses can mislead us, and the attractions of the material world, they have a certain reality, a certain appeal, but they aren't quite what they seem. They're often distorted, fleeting.
So it's not just what we see, but how we interpret it, our understanding.
Exactly, that's the deeper level. Illusion in conception. This is where we fundamentally misunderstand the purpose or meaning of things. This is the Gita's main focus.
How so?
We misunderstand the world's true purpose. We think it's primarily for our sensory pleasure, our enjoyment. But the Gita says its real purpose is for our spiritual growth, our self-realization.
Can you give an example?
Think of a small child seeing fire. They might perceive the light and warmth, maybe think it's a fun toy. That's illusion in perception, perhaps. But the real danger is the conceptual illusion. They fundamentally misunderstand its nature and purpose, thinking it's safe to play with. That leads to pain.
And does this illusion extend to how we see ourselves, our identity?
Oh, absolutely. That's another huge layer. Illusion and self-identification. We think we are our temporary bodies, our jobs, our roles, our possessions.
Like the madman thinking he's a king.
Something like that, yeah. It leads to so much confusion and dissatisfaction because our actual true nature is spiritual, eternal, unchanging. We're identifying with the temporary costume instead of the actor wearing it.
And the Bhagavatam takes it even further, right? What's the ultimate illusion according to that text?
Yeah, the ultimate illusion is believing that anything exists separately from Krishna, from the divine, the ultimate reality.
But things feel separate. I feel separate from you, from this microphone.
They do. And that's the power of Maya. But the idea is that everything is ultimately an energy or expression of the divine. Even something like physical attraction, which feels very real and material.
Yes.
It's seen as a reflection of a deeper divine potential for connection and beauty. The goal isn't to deny the attraction exists, but to understand its source and direct that energy towards the divine, rather than getting lost solely in the temporary physical form.
Seeing the divine spark within the material.
Exactly. Forgetting the source, getting caught purely in the reflection that's the entanglement.
Okay, so if we're caught in this upside-down tree, rooted in illusion, how do we get out? The Gita uses the image of an axe, right?
It does. A very strong image. It advises using the axe of detachment, Asanga Shastra. Detachment, coupled with spiritual wisdom.
And what are we cutting?
We're cutting the roots of this tree, the Suvarudha Moolam, the very firmly rooted tree of material existence, which really means cutting through our deep-seated passions, our attachments to this material world.
Like those aerial roots of a banyan tree digging deeper and deeper?
That's a perfect analogy. Our attachments just entrench us further. So to really get free, you can't just trim the branches. You have to go for the roots, which means tracing back where our actions and desires actually come from.
And where do we start that tracing? How do you wield this axe?
You have to trace the origin. Where do your actions, your desires, your thoughts ultimately spring from? There's that story about Chanakya.
The ancient Indian strategists.
Yeah. He wanted to get rid of some thorny bush causing trouble. But instead of just hacking at it, he poured syrup near its roots.
Why syrup?
To attract ants. The ants came, devoured the syrup, and ended up destroying the roots of the bush. It's a metaphor for finding the root cause.
So for us, that means
identifying the root cause of our unwanted behaviors, our binding attachments. And if you trace it back, it leads to the gunas, goodness, passion, ignorance influencing our choices. And tracing even further back
to the ultimate source,
to pure consciousness itself, like understanding the electricity that powers all the different bulbs, good or bad.
So it's really about managing our inner world. Cultivating the right mindset.
Exactly. It's an active process, discarding thoughts driven by ignorance, tamas, and passion, rajas. Actively fostering thoughts based on goodness, sattva.
Choosing which guna dominates.
Yes. Consciously replacing lower thoughts with higher ones. And community helps here. Satsanga, good company, is crucial. Immersing yourself in positive influences, scriptures, good books.
Even using technology wisely if good people aren't around.
Sure, if it connects you to wisdom. But, while external support is great, at the end of the day, controlling your own thoughts, keeping them pure, that's on you. It's a personal responsibility.
The Gita also lists specific qualities needed for someone to actually do this, to cut through the illusion. Chapter 15, verse 5, what does it take?
Right, it lays out the qualifications. You need to be free from pride, mana,
Yeah.
and delusion, moha. That means cultivating humility, clear thinking.
Okay. No ego, clear sight. What else?
Conquer attachment, sangha dosha. Become unaffected by just, superficial likes and dislikes regarding others. Aim for complete dispassion, parapurnamuraja. Freedom from worldly desires.
Freedom from desires and the ups and downs.
Exactly. Freedom from the dualities, pleasure, pain, heat, cold.
Yeah.
Maintaining equanimity, and crucially, consistent commitment. Adhyatmanicca, constant focus on the spiritual path, studying the scriptures.
And finally,
Possessing wisdom, amoda. Having removed that veil of ignorance, it's a high bar, but it shows the path.
so once you've used this axe, achieved detachment, what's next? What's the goal?
The goal, then, is to seek the base of the tree, the ultimate source, which is the Supreme Lord himself.
Taking refuge in him.
Yes, taking shelter in the Lord. That, the Gita says, leads to his eternal abode, a place from which you don't come back to this material cycle.
Liberation. Freedom from birth and death.
That's the destination, a state of pure, unchanging consciousness, beyond all this material limitation.
Okay, let's talk about the self in all this. The Gita seems to be unifying things, our individual self, the divine. How does it help us understand who we actually are? It feels like a constant question.
It really does. The Gita describes the embodied soul, the jiva, as an eternal fragment, a part of the divine, an amsha.
So divine in essence.
Yes, but influenced by material nature, it struggles, particularly with the six senses, the five physical senses, plus the mind, which is often the ringleader.
The unruly mind.
Exactly. So the soul, when ignorant, mistakenly identifies with the temporary body and mind it's currently using, creates this false, illusory self.
And that's what keeps us cycling.
That's what keeps the cycle going. Driven by desires and past karma, the soul moves from one body to another, just like the wind carries smells from one place to another. That's the image used in 15.8.
So how do we break free from that identification? How do we see the soul's true nature?
It takes the eye of knowledge, Nanachakshu. Only those who have really purified their minds.
Through practices like
Karma yoga, selfless action, and bhakti yoga, devotional service, and who have really absorbed the scriptural teachings. Only they can perceive the soul's true, undivided nature. That's verses 15.0 and 11.
and the ignorant, even if they try.
The ignorant, even if they're striving, can't quite grasp it because their minds are still clouded by the gunas, by desires. Purification is key.
This eye of knowledge sounds crucial. And where does God Ishvara fit in? We often think of God as distant, but you said the Gita paints a more intimate picture.
Much more intimate. The Gita insists God isn't remote at all. He pervades everything. Our universe, our own bodies, our minds.
How so? Examples.
Well, he's the light. The brilliance in the sun, the moon, the fire that illuminates everything. That's 15.12. His energy permeates the earth, sustaining all life. He nourishes the plants like the sappy moon mentioned in 15.13.
So even basic life processes are connected to the divine. It's truly everywhere.
Everywhere and within, he's the digestive fire, Vaishvanara, within our own stomachs.
Yeah.
Working with our breath to digest our food, that's 15.1. It's incredibly intimate.
Wow. And in our minds, too.
Yes, he's seated in the heart of every being. He's the source of memory, knowledge, and even forgetfulness. That's 15.15. Our thoughts, our consciousness itself, function only because of this underlying pure consciousness, which is divine.
So he's the essence of the Vedas, too.
He's the ultimate truth to be known through all the Vedas. He's the author of Vedanta, the culmination of Vedic knowledge, and he's the ultimate knower of the Vedas. He's the reality behind it all.
This connects perfectly to that concept of the three Purushas in verses 16-18. Can you break those down? What do these layers reveal about reality?
Okay, the three Purushas. First is Kriyoshar, the perishable. Meaning all beings, all things in the material world that change, decay, come and go. Our physical bodies are classic examples of Kshar.
Got it. Perishable. What's next?
Akshar, the imperishable. This is the unchanging consciousness within the body, the witness. Or you could see it as the unmanifest potential, the Maya Shakti, from which the material world arises. It's the constant backdrop.
Okay. Perishable bodies, imperishable consciousness or potential, and the third one, Purushottama.
Purushottama, the supreme divine personality. This is the highest reality, totally distinct from and transcendental to both the perishable Char and the imperishable Akshar.
So beyond both change and the unchanging potential.
Exactly. This is pure consciousness itself, the eternal source, the sustainer, the regulator of everything. It pervades and holds together all the worlds, waking, dream, deep sleep, gross, subtle, causal bodies. It's the ultimate reality.
Like the rope mistaken for a snake? Or the clay in the pot?
Perfect analogies. It's the fundamental substance, the substratum, that allows all the other appearances to, well, appear.
So how do we tie this all together for ourselves? How does understanding this help us realize the truth?
It helps you see the connection. That the I inside you, this world around you, and the divine, they aren't fundamentally separate. If you mentally strip away the temporary forms, the limitations, the names,
You arrive at
Purushottama, that pure, undiluted, eternal essence, the self of everything. It's about seeing the unity behind all the diversity.
And the benefit of really knowing this, according to the last couple of verses, 19 and 20, what happens then?
Knowing the divine as Purushottama, really knowing it without doubt, leads to complete knowledge. Not just facts, but understanding the fundamental reality.
You become all-knowing.
In that sense, yes, you become undiluted, wise.
Yeah.
Through hearing about it, thinking about it, meditating on it, you truly get it. And that person worships the divine wholeheartedly because they see that pure consciousness in everything.
And this is the most secret teaching.
That's what Krishna calls it. Imparted to those ready, pure-hearted, focused, it leads to enlightenment, to fulfilling everything life is meant for. You become, in essence, a complete person. Nothing left undone because you've realized your true self and purpose.
That's an incredibly powerful and liberating vision. So if this world we live in really is a kind of distorted reflection, and getting free means cutting our attachments to it,
Right.
maybe the thought to leave everyone with is this. What's just one small axe of discernment you could use today? What's one deeply held desire you could question, even just a little? Just to start that journey, maybe, from illusion towards truth.
That's a really potent question to sit with. A great place to pause this deep dive.
Until next time.